If you like to travel with your stitching as much as I do, then you know how hard it can be to try to thread your needle in a bouncing car or airplane. So today's project is going to take care of that problem for you. Let's make a travel continuously threaded needle roll. And this whole project starts with one surprising ingredient, and that is a toilet paper roll. My name is Dawn and I'm the Ginger Cat Stitcher, and let me show you how fun and easy it is to make this little travel needle roll. So today's project is this continuously threaded travel needle roll, and you'll see it's tied here with a ribbon. And when you open it up, it has a place to securely hold your spool of thread, as well as a place to park your needles. And you'll see here I have 5 needles in my felt, and they are all already threaded. So this is what makes this needle case special, is that you are able to store multiple needles and have them all threaded. So when you're ready to stitch, you just remove the first needle and pull your thread out to your desired length, snip your thread, and then you're ready to work with this needle. When you are finished with the thread on there, or you drop the needle and can't find it like I do a lot of times, you can park it there and then take out your next one, and you just simply pull again to the desired length of thread and snip that. And as you can see, there's room for way more than 5 needles. You could probably fit at least 10 on here. So that way, if you're on a long trip, you don't have to worry about threading your needle in the bouncing car or airplane. You can just work from this group of previously threaded needles. The thread fits in there comfortably, and you can see you can turn it upside down and your thread does not fall out. So no chance of dropping your spool of thread and having it roll down the center aisle of the airplane. And yeah, this is just a great thing to add to your travel sewing basket. Okay, so to make your own travel needle roll, you're going to need just a few things. And number one is a toilet paper roll, any empty toilet paper tube. Then you're going to need, of course, your fabric. And I like to work with the small prints on this project, but of course you could use whatever you wanted. And this is just a quilting cotton. So you're also going to need some lightweight iron-in fusible interfacing. So this is just from Joann's, and it's lightweight iron-on interfacing. Then you're going to need a piece of cardboard to draw some templates, and I just use a cereal box. And then you're going to need a piece of felt for your needles, and this just a little scrap piece of felt that measures 3.5 inches long by 3 inches wide. You're going to need some glue. I'm using Eileen's, but you can use any kind of white glue, Elmer's glue, that's fine. And then you're going to need a piece of ribbon to tie your roll. I'm just using some seam binding at 22 inches long. And then you're going to need 3 buttons. 2 buttons for the ends of the needle roll. So you'll need 2 buttons for that. And then you'll also need a button right here where the ties go. So I got another button for that. So you'll need a total of 3 buttons. You'll need a needle and thread for a small little bit of hand sewing, a sewing machine, and a hot glue gun, and an iron for your interfacing. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first step is to cut your fabric, and you want your first piece to be 4¼ inches wide by 5½ inches long, and then the second piece will be 4¼ inches wide by 15 inches long. And I will have all these measurements written down below in the description for you. So let's head on over to the cutting table and get our fabric. All right, so I cut this first piece of fabric 4¼ inches wide by 15 inches long. My second one is 4¼ by 5½. And then I also cut a piece of the lightweight fusible interfacing. I'm going to put that down with the bumpy side up. You can feel that it's the glue with the bumpy side. And then I'm going to put my big piece of fabric, my longer piece of fabric, on top of that with the right side up. Now I'm going to go over to my iron and iron that on. So we're going to set this piece aside for a minute, and we're going to do the piece of felt onto the smaller piece of fabric. We're going to place it about 1 inch from the bottom, and then we're going to make sure it's centered. So same width, same amount on each side. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to take the top and fold it down so that you fold it over the edge of the felt and finger press it. Just like that. Now we're going to head over to the machine and stitch that down. Today I'm going to be sewing on Sandra Sue. Sandra Sue is my singer, model 15. She was born November 19th, 1951. So that makes her 73 years old. And she still sews like the day she was made. So you want to make sure that you do a small enough seam allowance that we don't take up too much of our fabric, but yet you also want to make sure that you catch the felt in your seam that we're going to do. So I would suggest just a little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch. And you want to fold it open and make sure that you caught all of your felt piece in there. And then we're going to finger press it back open. Okay, now we're going to attach the small piece that we just sewed to our long piece. And we're going to take the end that does not have the flap, this end, and we're going to line it up with the edge of our long piece of fabric. Now, if you want your needle roll to have curved corners on this part, you can take a spool of thread and a Sharpie or a pen and just put this up in the corner, and you just use it as a guide to mark a curved edge. So just like that. There we go. Same thing on this side. Just going to use it to indicate that there's a curved edge right there. And now we're going to sew again with approximately 1/8 of an inch. You can go a little bit bigger. And we are going to start sewing beneath the line of stitching that we just did to add in our piece of felt. So right here is where you're going to stitch. You're going to go all the way down, over, and all the way back up. Do not catch this flap part into your stitches. So that's it. So now we have created a little pocket. Okay, so now we will turn our pocket right side out, making sure that we push out our corners. And we're going to head over to the iron and give that a quick little press. Okay, now that we have our fabric portion sewed, it's time to use our toilet paper roll, and we're going to go ahead and cut one slit down the length of the toilet paper tube, and then we're going to cut another one about 1/4 inch wide. So my strip was approximately 1/4 inch wide, and then there we go. All right, now you're going to use your white glue to attach the fabric. So the first thing that we're going to do is on the outside edge. I'm going to use my finger and spread that out some. Now we're going to take the end of the fabric that does not have the pocket on it, and we're going to lay the edge of the fabric right onto the glue that we just put down, centering the toilet paper roll on the fabric. So just like that, and you can see about how far down I have placed my fabric, about 1/2 inch. Just give that a little press and get that to stick. Now we're going to flip the tube and open it up to the inside. We're going to do the same thing and put a bead of glue right here. And we're going to put some glue on about 1/2 of the toilet paper roll. Use our finger again. And I see my fabric's coming off a little bit. That's okay, we'll be able to press it down on this step. Spread that out. Reattach that, and then fold it over, and we are going to push the fabric onto the glue on the inside of the toilet paper roll. Okay, and now we're going to do the rest of the inside of the toilet paper roll with the glue. Again, spread that out. You want to check that your toilet paper roll is centered on your fabric. Mine's not quite centered, it's off just a little bit, but that's okay. You just don't want it going, you know, completely off your fabric. But as long as you have some fabric on either side of the roll, it'll be okay. Now we're going to go ahead and put the glue on the remaining outside part of the toilet paper tube. And this little flap here is going to go underneath. So let's just revisit the back here and make sure we've got that all flat. So I have my flap tucked underneath, and I put an extra little bead of glue right on the cardboard. I'm just going to gently press that down. So now we have this flap here, and we have both sides of the toilet paper tube covered with fabric. Now we're going to re-roll it so that it gets its circular shape, or its tube shape back. And you want to make sure that you have about a finger's width gap right there. So it's about a finger's width in between there. And then we're just going to use some fabric clips and just secure it like this. You could also use a rubber band. And we're just going to set this aside for a couple minutes, work on another portion of the roll, and then let this dry and resume. So while that's drying, we're going to cut out our 2 circular templates, and I have included these in a download that's in the description down below so that you can print them out and you don't have to do any measuring. But the little one is 1 3/4 inch diameter, and the big one is 3.5 inches diameter. So the little one is what we're going to use to make, oh, get back there, to make the ends. So we're going to trace that onto our cardboard and cut out 2. So I have those right here ready to go. And then the bigger one, we are going to use fabric scraps left over from the fabric we cut for the outside of the roll. And I'm just going to use this template, and I'm going to trace 2 circles onto my fabric and then cut them out. All right, my circles are all cut out. First step is to do a gathering stitch or a running stitch all the way around. So we're going to start with the right side of the fabric, and we're just going to go in and out all the way around. And as you can see, I'm doing my stitches about 1/4 inch from the top. So I'm going to grab onto my 2 ends of my thread, open this up a little bit, and if your cardboard is like mine and it has printing on the other side, you're going to want to make sure that your plain side faces up, because this is going to be the outside. This is the inside, so it's okay if the little bit of the vibrantly printed cereal box is on the inside, and you want the plain cardboard facing up. Now I'm just going to take these 2 tail ends of thread and knot them. Don't pull so tight that you warp your cardboard, but get it nice and snug. I'm going to snip those tails off. All right, there we have our nice little yo-yo end. And I'm going to grab my button that goes right there. I'm going to give it a nice drop of hot glue right in the middle there. Stick my button down in there and press it. And I'll do that same thing with the other one. There we go. We have our 2 ends completed. All right, so my tube has been drying for a couple minutes, and now it's time to attach the ends. So you could hot glue this on there if you wanted to, but I would recommend stitching it. So if you'll notice, there is a bit of fold over on each side. So we're going to put this on there and stitch it on, and let me show you how to do that. So I have a needle here threaded with 2 strands. I'm going to start with my circle, and I'm just going to take a little piece, and then I'm going to go through this loop and get that on there nice and secure. And then I'm going to take the edge of the tube, and I'm going to place this on top. Now I'm left-handed, so I'm probably doing it backwards from the way most of you would do it. You would probably go in the other direction. But I'm just going to fold this fabric down, and I'm going to take a little stitch. Here, let me show you like this. Just a little, well, easier said than done. Just a little stitch of this fabric. And then back up here to a little stitch of this fabric. My needle's not very sharp. I need a different needle. Pull that down tight. And this is a ladder stitch, and I'm just going to go back and forth, grabbing little bits of the fabric from the toilet paper tube, and then little bits of fabric from the yo-yo circle. And then when I pull this, it all goes down nice and tight. So let me get this started. Let me grab another needle, and I'll show you how to do it. I'm grabbing the fabric just on the bottom side of this cardboard yo-yo, not on the very edge where it would be seen. And once you get all the way around, you're going to come to the part where the lip of the toilet paper and the fabric meet. And you're just going to make sure you tuck that raw edge under and just keep stitching. Getting that raw edge tucked under there. And it looks like maybe one more stitch on the top. Pull it nice and tight. And then we'll knot it off. Take a little stitch. Go through the loop twice. Pull it. And then hide your tail by taking a little stitch through your fabric. Trim that and pull. So there is your first end stitched on. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch on the other side. Now that we have our sides sewn on, or our ends, we're ready to put on the ribbon. So to find the center, I'm just going to fold it like this, make a little crease. It didn't crease very well. Just going to fold it, find the center, make a little crease, take my ribbon, find the center of my ribbon. I'm going to put a little dab of hot glue right on my center. Place the center of my ribbon on there. And get the button that I chose. I think we'll put it on this way. So we'll put some hot glue on the button. Now, of course, you can sew this on if you want. Put our button right there. And that's it. So all that's left is to fill your needle roll. And you'll notice that it's big enough to hold 2 regular size spools of thread. So you could even pull out the thread and thread a bunch of needles on this side with the blue, thread a bunch of needles on this side with the brown. Roll it up and tie it. Now this would make a great thing, you know, to make for yourself, to put in your travel sewing kit, but also make a great gift for a stitchy friend, or if you belong to a quilt group or a sewing group of any kind. This would be a great gift or retreat gift. And also if you know any elderly people that like to Where's this thread coming from? Oh, it's my thread inside. If you know any elderly people that love to stitch but have a hard time threading their needles, then this would be a wonderful gift, because you could provide them with several threaded needles and they could go ahead and stitch all day and not have to worry about rethreading their needle. So that's it. I hope you would enjoyed learning how to make this travel continuously threaded needle roll. And I hope you make one for yourself or as a gift for a friend. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.